Welcome back to the Budding Author Podcast with me, Simon Ward, and guest Jen MacLeod. Hi, Jen.
Hi. How are you?
We're good. Today we're going to talk about marketing and placing ads. Now, ads is something that you've had success with. We're going to talk about that just for a bit, and then we're going to get into the detail of exactly how you do that. So if you need any support, I'm going to do a tutorial after this. But we're going to talk through the process and the pros and cons. And Jen is a good person to talk to on this. She knows the stuff, don't you?
I do, yeah. Trial and error, or trial by fire. I've dabbled in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the first steps, we've got a book. We're happy with the book. It's edited and we're comfortable. We've had some sales and some good reviews, so we're comfortable with the book. So then we get into a position that we want to place some ads. What would your process normally be for that?
I've tried out 2 different places to advertise and have had success with them. So I call it X advertising. So that's just on Twitter. And if you have a blue check mark, you're allowed to advertise. And then the second one is just advertising right on Amazon. So those would be the 2 that I've tried multiple ways and over time and gotten better at both of them. And just everybody should be aware that if you try this initially and it doesn't work and you feel like you've kind of wasted a bit of money, that's fairly normal. A lot of people, when they first advertise a book, they don't know what to click. So my advice for that stage is to bid or cap your daily spend really low on any platform. So don't go in and leave it up to the company like Amazon to spend whatever they want. Make sure that you've filled in those boxes where they say what's the cap per day or total, and keep them very modest. Okay.
Yeah. I did that. Yeah. I placed some ads on Facebook, and there was somebody from Facebook that was guiding me through it. But I think, like many budding authors like myself out there, we were guided through the process, but we didn't really know what was happening.
So and here's the thing. The other thing too is that I feel like, I mean, I don't want to disagree with what's being taught, but when I've compared what's being taught with what works for me, it's not equated. Like, it doesn't make sense. Yeah. So I'll give one example. So on all of these platforms, you choose keywords often. So to kind of narrow down or target more specifically who's going to actually see your ad. And there's sort of some gurus out there that say that you should be using at least 100 keywords. And my philosophy is that's your best way to lose a ton of money. So I disagree with them. I think that you should hone your ad and really target a very small number of keywords and monitor it very well and see how well they work before you increase your keywords. So I'll just give you an example. If you go into any of these sites and put 100 keywords, even if you spend $1 on each one in a day, you've already spent $100. So I don't feel that that's wise at all. I would target 5. Choose 5 amazing keywords and bid really low, as low as 5 cents to start, and then monitor that for 24 hours and see what happens. If you've got 100 keywords going on, it's hard to monitor because every time someone clicks, you have this huge string of keywords to keep track of, and it's too overwhelming and it's just a money waster. You're going to lose money. That's my experience.
Will you be able to see who's clicked against what keyword?
Yes. And so you can look at the targeted keywords, and you can not only look at what they've clicked that you put in, so what keyword you wrote, but on Amazon, you can actually look at what they typed into the search bar. So that's a little bit different. So you can look at when you were charged if it was the keyword you typed, but if they are typing something slightly different, that usually gives you some good information for either adding a different phrase or a different keyword to target people that are, you know, maybe people are typing something different, but they're actually buying your book. So you might want to make sure that you add one of those phrases in. Or sometimes you don't like the phrase because what they're typing in, your book's coming up, but it doesn't even match. So they might have a different time period, or just something's really off and you know that they're not going to buy your book, but you're still spending money. You can then add that as a negative keyword or a negative phrase. And so then you don't keep getting charged for people typing that in.
Yeah. I think when people say keywords, people think about a word, but it's not really just a word, is it? Keywords is like a key phrase, isn't it?
It can be. Yeah, it can be one word. It can be a whole phrase. And on Amazon, you get to choose how closely you want to be charged. So it can be exact. So you can choose exact, and the person has to type in exactly what you said, or it can be a phrase. So maybe parts of it match, or there's even the broad one where as long as a couple words match, you still get, you know, they still find your book, but then you also might get charged for that. I like the keywords on Twitter. So on X advertising, I have better luck advertising on X. No, I'm not paid by X at all. But here's what I've found is I can bid extremely low on X and still get clicks and people buying my book, versus Amazon, where the lowest bid is always higher than the lowest bid on X to actually get something happening.
So Twitter's I've still got Twitter in my head rather than X.
I know, I see both.
So Twitter's far cheaper to advertise on.
It is.
But you need you need a blue tick. I haven't got a blue tick. You
need the blue check. So if I can give an example, I mean, I don't usually talk a lot of money, but I'll give people an example of sort of how much to bid and what you might spend in a typical period of time. So, you know, let's say you launch a campaign on a particular book, and you want to keep your budget really low. I'll set it up so that I don't spend more than $2 a day. That's my typical $2. And then I'll put, you know, what I want the total campaign to be. But sometimes I don't put that if I'm spending $2 a day and I'm okay with that. But often it's not $2 a day, it's less. And I find that $10 can last you, you know, 2 weeks on there. And even bidding 2 to 5 cents per click will actually get you some action on there, versus Amazon. A lot of people tell me that they have to have 60, 70, 80 cent bids to even sort of get into the impressions. Whereas on X, you know, a lot of the time I'll still get a lot of impressions and people clicking. So I do find it's better bang for your buck. You're going to get more out of your money on there. But the counter argument is that on Amazon, you're actually marketing or, you know, advertising directly to the person who's on there looking for books. So on X, they might just on there for other reasons and come across your book. Whereas on Amazon, if they're on there and they're actually typing in book titles or, you know, book related themes, they're ready to part with their money. Right?
What kind of bid price would you say on Amazon then?
I'm still frugal, and my advertising journey started with them in 2018, and I wasted way too much money. I don't even want to tell people how much. It's not as much as what some people have wasted on there. By waste, I mean I didn't know what I was doing at all, and I was spending way more than I was making. Now I refuse to pay them anything. I have to make more than I'm spending. So I'm still very frugal, and I'll maybe still do the $2 a day thing. But my bids can't be 2 to 5 cents usually on the Zon because nobody sees it. So I would say 40 to 50 cents probably is around where people will start to actually see my ad and so get some clicks.
That's a lot of money for a click, isn't it?
I was just going to say that's actually really low. So my advice to people is don't put 40 or 50 cents in to start. Put like 5 cents. Wait 24 hours and see what happens. But I've done this enough to know which keywords need to be at 40 cents, which ones can be at 10 cents, which ones need to be at 70 before anyone will see it at all. So because of that, I don't even try for the ones that are 70 cents. Why would I? If I'm going to make sales off the ones that are 40 cents, I'm going to put all keywords like that. So to some degree, you have to do trial and error a little bit, maybe for a few days to see. But again, if you're losing money and you are a business, you're an author, you're a business owner, you shouldn't be spending more than you're making. It's just not good business.
Well, I had a Eve Kagucha on, and she said she'd sold 1,100 books, which was really impressive. But then she said the majority of those are through ads, and she wasn't in a profit situation with that. So I was thinking, well, how much should she spend? Yeah.
Well, so here, like, I'm not going to disparage anyone. Everyone has to have their own. Some people think that they just want their book in hands, right? They want to get their book in someone's hands, so they're willing to do that. Yeah. Right. Like, so they figure that loss means that at least someone has their book. But I know I shouldn't compare myself to Nike, but I can't imagine a company ever saying, let's make it so that we're giving our product away. We're going to spend triple what we make, and we're going to do that as a business model. I don't think anyone would do that in these companies that are successful. So why should we do that? I'm not saying that we're going to make money like Nike, but my point is you shouldn't be so in debt that when you sell 2,000 books, you've lost $5,000 or 10 grand. That makes zero sense to me. So I don't pay X ads. I don't pay Amazon ads in the sense that when I pay them, I've made more than it cost me, or I stop the ad, or I adjust the ad. Right?
I'm fine with the speculate to accumulate, but obviously it can't be a sort of negative game. As I say, I want to get my books out there and read by more people, but I don't want it costing me to do that. As you say, no business is going to be solvent if they're giving things away and paying people to read their stuff, which is effectively what.
And I know there's smarter business people than me, more successful, but I'm sure that they would say, like, startups, obviously there's costs involved. Everybody has to put forward some money to make money. But I'm just saying, like, after you've been doing this for a few years, you can't keep doing that forever. There's got to come a point when you say, I should be making money, right? It's I just think I've done that. I reached that point where I figured I needed to start to be savvier, and I've learned so much in how to do it. So on X ads, for example, I started an ad on May 19th, and I said to myself, I will keep that ad running as long as I don't go one day without selling something. So I would give myself maybe one day in between, and then as soon as I had a day with no sales, if I had another day, I was going to change the ad. So the ad is still running since May 19th because that hasn't happened. I've sold something or many things every day with maybe 1 or 2 days where nothing happened. I still had KU page reads though. So I would still say that's successful.
How many books have you got available now?
9. I have 9.
9. Because I was thinking initially, because when I first put my ad out there, they were saying they wanted like 50 pence a click or 50 cents a click. I'm thinking, well, I only make sort of like 100 cents on a paperback. I'd only make sort of like 100 cents. It's like $1 sort of thing, effectively, anyway. So every time somebody clicks, every 2 people clicks, if one of them doesn't buy, if only one buys, that's not making any money. So that's sort of where that sort of stuck. The business model mindset was, because it's the first part of a 3-book series, then if they've bought the first one, and they like it, they'll sort of get the second and third book. So I'll make money over the period. But that's a risky strategy, isn't it?
Well, what I found, so I just finished a series in February. The 3rd book came out. It's a trilogy. And I was kind of thinking what you were, but that didn't happen until the trilogy, till the series finished. As soon as it ended, that's what's happening for me now. People are going back and they're buying all 3 books, and they're kind of binge reading it on, like, as if it's a Netflix show, right? People just want to be able to get the whole completed arc. But I didn't find that when it was 2 years and I hadn't written the second, and then another 2 years till the third. The in-between period, people don't do that. They are waiting to hear the series is done. And then maybe the logic is we could maybe lose a tiny bit on the first one and then make it up in the books 2 and 3. But I'm still not willing to do that. And I'm not willing to give my books away for free. So, yeah.
I think what you've said so far, I think going the Twitter route, even though that's not a direct through to the direct seller effectively, or the direct purchaser, that's probably a better way to go to sort of gain traction on there, and to sort of
100%.
or maybe sort of do a little bit with Twitter X and a little bit of Amazon as well, and then sort of see which ones do best.
Yeah, and even if I add in the cost of the blue check, so I mean, I'm saying that I'm making more from my sales than I'm spending, because my bids are 2 to 4 cents a click. So even with that, I'm making more than I'm spending. So to me, that's really savvy. But even if I added in, I think it's $15 Canadian a month on the blue check. Even with that, I'm still making much more than I'm spending. So, and again, for people where that's not happening.
How much is the blue
again?
tick? How much you say the blue tick was?
I think so. Canadian, it's around $15 a month.
Is it really that much?
I think it's like $10 American, and since Canadian dollars are pretty,
I've got you.
pretty
Okay,
worthless right now. Yeah, but I mean, it to me, that again, it's still, I'm making more than that plus the cost of the ads. So when I tell people I don't pay for advertising, I mean, obviously Twitter gets their money. I'm just saying that at the end of the month, when Amazon pays me, it covers what I spent and I get a profit. Now, that wasn't always the case, like I said. And so people shouldn't feel bad if that's not happening. The other key thing is I'm not willing to risk a lot. So my bids are ridiculously low, and my daily cap is like $2. So people say to me, well, why don't you make it 3? Why don't you try 5? Why don't you go to 10? And I'm like, but I'm making money right now. So, I mean, the Elon Musks of the world are probably thinking, why don't you spend 10? Because like he would make money and I would make money and it would be good. But I just am more conservative in my spending, I guess. And I think it's happy.
On the lower numbers, it's more manageable. You can keep control of it better, I think.
Yeah. It can get away from you, right? It can get out of control. People sort of forget that those are real numbers, those are real dollars, and at some point you've got to pay off what you've been spending, which is what happened to me about 6 years ago. You know, when I had my first couple books out and I was trying the Amazon route, and I was, like you said, at $1 a click or 60 cents or 70 cents on keywords that weren't working. See, it's different if you have a keyword after I've done trial and error, and I know there's a couple keywords that just work really well for my particular book. But you know, for keywords that are more generic and don't work, you're gonna just spend your $2 is done and you didn't get anything for it. So I don't know. That's kind of a waste.
So how specific are you going with your keywords? Like, for example,
Very. I'd
for
go really
example,
niche.
you go really niche.
Oh yeah, yeah. Be really specific. If you have like a time travel book and you type in time travel, you're going to waste all of your money.
Yeah.
Right? Because everybody's going to type that in, or your book will be associated with every book related to that. So you need to have time travel with something else, or think of other themes or other things that are in your book that make it really unique, and add those as the keywords. Your 5 keywords, right? Don't put time travel as any of them. Or historical fiction,
Yeah.
romance. If you just have that generic category, you're going to be down $2,000 in a week, and not be able to go on that trip you wanted to go on.
Yeah, and that's I've got a lot of thinking to do on that, because the books I'm thinking about there with Time to Click, that sort of, it's a multi-genre really. There's lots going on in there, from some sort of romantic elements, some adventure elements, some horror, some comedy. It's got a whole bag really. So where would you start with a keyword for that?
Well, for example, let's say your main character is a really strong female character. Instead of typing in, comedy books or romance books, you could type in, books with strong females, or books with strong women. And then that's more niche than just romance. Or like rom-com or romantic comedy, you're going to just be inundated with all these other more famous books than yours, and nobody will ever see it. My book has karate in it. That's more of a niche. So a martial arts, you could put books with martial arts there. Mine would get in the mix, and the bids are lower. You can also add things like Kindle Unlimited at the end of your search. So books with strong women, Kindle Unlimited. That sounds like a mouthful, but you could put that in, and you could even put exact, so that someone has to type the whole thing for you to be charged. And Amazon won't like that, but good for you. It really depends. So, I mean, you said that you've got a little bit of horror, but if that's not the main focus, you also don't want to lead people astray and have horror books on there. And if it's just more kind of some thrilling moments, or some, horror moments. It's just, I feel like go really specific, but only do 4 or 5, and then just play around with that $2 thing.
And then test them
and
out.
then that way you really haven't risked anything, or not much.
I think,
and if $2 is a lot for you, risk a buck.
Keeping it down, say $2 or £2 for me, £2 a day, sort of. It's something I want to keep an eye on, because I am sort of mindful not to have a bill sort of piling up,
right?
If the sales aren't coming in there. So that's,
and if you keep it the clicks low, and a really niche keyword, and only like 3 keywords, the chances of people clicking is lower, so you won't spend as much. But then you can really assess how it worked. If you only have 2 keywords, you can monitor those. And if you're really busy through the week, don't run an ad to learn how to run an ad on a day when you're working and you're in meetings and you're not going to be able to check in. So do it on a Saturday or some day of the week when you're home, and devote that day to learning, and keep checking on it. Every hour it'll be updated, and you can see in real time what people are clicking. And so it's working.
You really need to keep an eye on it. I think for yourself as a teacher sort of thing, you check it in the morning, and then it could be sort of like lunchtime or evening before you check in on it. And
sometimes it can be in the morning and then 5 p.m., right? It depends on the day. So I think people be mindful. I mean, now that I've practiced with the XAD, I can keep it running all the time, and I'm not worried about that. I come home and, I share my sales with some people I have like DM chat with on here, and I'll come home and be like, I made a couple sales, and maybe I spent 30 cents. So, you know, I'm not worried about that on X anymore. I feel like I've got the ad figured out. Amazon, I'm still, I still feel like suddenly everything can just change on there. You have it all figured out, and then all of a sudden some algorithm change happens and nothing you used to do is working and you have to learn all over again. So, you know, it's a different machine altogether.
That's just to keep everybody guessing, I think. Before we go into specifically Amazon ads, and I'm going to sort of we're going to have a bit of a walkthrough, and
Sure.
say I'm going to do a separate video with a full walkthrough and description on it. But just before I get to that, one question for you. Now, you tell me whether I'm a bit of a nutcase here. My new series, The Life of Billy Spark, is season 1 is 8 30-minute episodes effectively. So episode 1, that's quite a short read. I'm looking to put that out for free for that have a set sort of like for a short period of time, sort of like 3 or 4 days, have that for free and then go to like 99p a book. I think that's a good way to sort of generate some sales to start with.
No. People will disagree wildly with me. So what you need to do is have another show where somebody thinks free is awesome, and then everybody can like compare our advice. But I don't know, time is money, and money isn't everything. So I know those don't sound like they make sense, but for an author, it's your passion, it's your creativity and your ideas. And I mean, AI has made, you know, a travesty of that passion, right? And made it so instant. So if you're actually investing the time, the tears, the energy, I don't think it should be free. I feel like it can be 99 cents, it can be low and therefore accessible to a lot of people to buy or to read. But I don't know that 4-day free is really going to be the hook that you imagine or that we hope, right? Yeah. I feel like you could keep a competitive price for it. It could maybe start out at $1.99 or whatever, and have people pay the full price for it. You know, maybe have discounts now and then. Like I have a 99-cent book running right now for a week, so every once in a while I'll put something on sale, but. Yeah. I don't do free anymore. I did when I first started, and then I didn't think it actually equated to reviews. I thought when people get something for free, they put it to the bottom of their slush pile, kind of. And if they buy it, they read it.
So maybe I'll just do this for 1 day then. I did originally say I was going to do it for 1 day. The reason I was thinking of doing that, and the reason I wanted to go with that, is because it's the first in the series and I have 3 seasons planned. It's to try and grab a lot of people to sort of read that first episode to sort of get into the premise of the book, and then they will hopefully they'll sort of, it'll push it up the rankings because it's had sales. So that should help. And then equally, the people that have read the first episode will be interested in the second episode and then get in with the series. So that was my thoughts. So like a lost leader.
I can see that a little bit if the whole series was done. So say all 8 were finished and they were out there and available. I can see doing it then. But for example, if someone's writing a book series, even novellas or whatever, and they only have the first one or the second one and they're not done yet, I wouldn't do that strategy unless you used it as a magnet and you had the free and then there were 7 more and they were already done. Then I think that would actually be pretty savvy, maybe business. I still wouldn't do it, but then I would say props to you for giving away your creativity for free.
At the moment, just for clarity, at the moment, episode 1 is, well, episode 1 to 8 is all written, but I've only finally edited episode 1. So I've got episode 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I probably sort of like a month apart. They're ready to sort of drop. So maybe I
Right.
should delay the free giveaway until I have maybe the second and the third ready to go.
Absolutely, for sure. Because otherwise you, and especially since you said you're going to do, say, a day or 4 days, when you think there's nothing for them to buy after that because it's not ready yet, you know, with how many books are available out there, or just things that are available out there, by the time you're hoping they'll buy number 2, they've either forgotten or they're busy, or so it's best if it's already ready to go. And then when you do that freebie thing, they'll say, oh, I see 2, 3, 4, and 5 are available. You know, I think you'd have better luck if you did it that way. But again, one opinion.
No, yeah, okay, but saying that, but you're an experienced author and you've been there and done it, and that's so that's why it's great advice. Right then, as far as the Amazon ad campaign, we're just sort of digging into that. So if we go into the Amazon bookshelf and then we select the book that we want to advertise, and we click on promote and advertise, and then that takes us through to ad campaigns, and we have 3 options now. We have sponsored products, sponsored brands, lock screen ads. So which one of those are we going for?
So brands is costly, so I wouldn't choose that. I'm just going to tell people why not. Brands is the one that kind of markets you as a whole author, as the whole package, but the minimum bid to be seen is quite high. So I did try that again. When I wasted all that money, I tried it, and I did sell well, but I think the minimum bid was $1.50 for some of the categories. As a romance author, I was competing right in a large market. So I found I was spending too much in order to sell a lot. So it was kind of like that example you gave with Eve. I think it was more that situation where, I was so happy I sold all these titles. And lock screen, I think, is a waste because not everybody reads books off Amazon on an actual Kindle e-reader. And I think lock screen is only for people who are using the official device. So I feel that it's a bit of a waste as well. So I would go with the products one.
The products one. Right then, we're clicking on the products one, continue. And let's see what it gives us next. That's just opening up. So the products one is the one we've selected. You need to add a payment method to launch your campaign. I haven't done that yet. So we'll move on. Custom text ad or standard ad? Which one would we go for?
So I would write my own ad. So I would click on custom text, and then that allows you to add your insert ad copy. So it could be like a tagline or something creative that you want to use.
So we go, here we go, Life of Billy Spark. We'll click on that one. So we click on that, and that opens up. Now I've clicked on that, and it's took me to all the, like, my product page.
So you can add other versions of it. Like if you wanted to do the paperback, you could, but I suggest I would do the Kindle. You have to actually click on the product that you're going to advertise. So find the Kindle version of it, and you can click that.
So I've done that, and so if I click on the from 126, it says. So dismiss that. That sort of didn't do what I wanted it to do. Then maybe I should go back a bit. Hang on. So we're one product. So if I pick another product, for example, there we go. It's never easy, is it? There's all this technology.
No.
When I clicked on that, it's just taken me to the main purchasing page. Is that correct?
You should still be within your campaign dashboard, I would call it.
Well, I've got one product that's in there. I think I've already selected it. I think that's where it is. Oh, I've got
Yeah.
So it said add. Okay, no, that's it. It's in. Sorry, it was me being a bit daft. So I've clicked
Perfect.
on it and it's gone in. So I could add where it's got a list of all your titles, and then there's an add button. So you just click the add button, and then it just is supposed to add that across. It's not added it, but still. But okay, we've got Life of Billy Sparks on there.
Perfect.
So that's that one. So next one, automatic targeting or manual targeting.
So I do manual because if you do auto, Amazon will choose everything for you. So again, they'll set it up. They'll bid too high. They'll choose the keywords. They'll do everything for you. Sounds great because it's, you know, less work, but they just want to make money. So
Yeah.
do it yourself.
So we've got manual targeting. So product targeting or keyword targeting. So keyword targeting, I would guess.
Keywords. So when you click on that, then you can type in the keywords.
Okay. So now we've on keyword targeting. So suggested bid, filter by broad, phrase, exact, and sort.
So where it says
order.
suggested bid, enter suggested, where it says suggested bid, I think beside it, or you can go in and edit that. So edit that before you click your keywords so that it will then default to that. So put something like 10 cents, 5 cents,
so
something really low.
Custom bid, yeah.
So change the bid to something quite low.
$10, 10 cents, yeah.
10 cents, yeah.
Filter by broad, phrase, and exact. Sort by orders.
Use exact because I used to use broad. I did get more clicks. I didn't get more sales because broad just meant it was putting it out to everybody, right? It was kind of, if they even had 2 words matching my phrase, it would make me pay for the click.
Yeah. So
you're going to get more out of it.
So I can see now it's giving me a list now of keywords. So this must be taken from what I'd entered previously.
So those are suggested ones, but I don't know if you see slightly over to the right at there, you can click on it and enter your own, and then it's just a blank spot where you can enter your own. Oh,
it's got none added at the moment. How to choose keywords for targeting? Let's have a look. It's giving me
if you start to type in a keyword, it will show you on the bottom what Amazon what will match with Amazon products. So that's a good way to test it out.
Let me see.
Like if you type in books
where should I type on that?
On where the keyword bar is.
Enter list. That's where you go type your keywords in. Okay.
Yes.
So changing your destiny. Yeah.
And then do you see below that when you start to type in changing, Amazon products will come up that match. So sometimes you can see keywords that Amazon, like that lots of people type into Amazon. And just below where it's typed.
So if I put destiny, oh yes, it's got some of the I can see some of that. Let's some
of them will be too broad, like I talked about, but some might be really nice niche ones that you could try.
Do you believe in fate is one of the taglines that I've got. So
right.
Do you believe in
fate? But it could be books about fate, right? Or books about destiny. Like that could be a way to get that niche, but not be so broad as to just type destiny. I feel like that's, you know.
Somebody else has used that. Yeah. So books about destiny, we could put that in.
Right. Yeah. It could be books about destiny, Kindle Unlimited. And then it could be exact. Yeah. So somebody has to type in that whole thing. And if you're not getting any clicks, you could change it to phrase. Or you could change it to broad. But start out with exact and see what happens.
So books about destiny, Kindle Unlimited. So yeah, that's one. And books about fate, you say, yeah?
Yeah.
I'm thinking, obviously I don't want to put too many in, do I?
No, maybe, like I said, 3 or 4. If your book has romance or horror or time travel or anything or comedy, maybe try to think of something to bring in that. Or if it's YA, if it's a YA book, you could put,
Yeah.
YA books with comedy. Exact.
YA books about fate.
Yeah.
So we could put that in, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm starting to get it now. I think that's the right thing.
Right.
And this is it.
And then when you click add, those will officially go into your keywords. Like, you haven't added them yet when you type them, unless you're adding them each one at a time, but you can type in a whole bunch and click add, and then it will add them onto the right-hand side, and you can adjust the bids. So then you can like maybe make one term a bit higher than another and so on, and you can tweak that.
Okay. Where I put changing your destiny down, it's got suggested bid 32 to 38 cents, and then in blue it's got 35 cents. But then I can just put my own in, can't I? That's just a suggestion.
Yeah, so they always give you the low to the high of what's average. Doesn't mean your book will get seen. It might mean that it gets seen at much less. So why put in the high amount first, right? If it says 30 cents, put in 10, put in 5, wait 24 hours, see what happens. Maybe you'll adjust it and go up to 15 or 20, but I never put what they say. Some of my categories say 90 cents, $2, $3.50. Like, I'm not spending that. And I don't have to. Right?
Brilliant. Okay, so now I've done that one. So next we come down negative keywords targeting. So we don't need
negative is hard to do until, do you see where it says targeting and then search terms? I think it says. Do you see that? So search terms won't have anything yet, but once people start typing stuff in, what they type in to see your ad and to click on your ad will show up there. If you don't like something because it doesn't match your book, you can actually add it to your negative keywords. And then the next time someone types that in, you won't get charged.
Okay, I got that. That makes sense.
You can't really do anything with it right now.
Okay. The next thing we've got there is creative, custom text.
So that's where you type in your ad.
That's
ad copy.
Yeah, so in there we'll say this is a new series, or
tagline. Think like the hook that's on your blurb, the first couple lines.
Got you. Just use the sort of like the blurb, yeah.
Okay.
So I've got that on a different
character sheet. Setting stakes.
Yeah.
Right.
That. Let me tell you what my blurb is on there. 1 second. See whether you like it or not. Where's it gone? So many folders. That's so the blurb I have, I'm stalling now. I'm just waiting for it to start. My computer needs a handle, I think, to sort of get it going.
Oh, it needs a crank. Is it from before the pandemic? Have you had it for a while?
It's
like 2018 tech.
I've probably had it about 3 years now, I think. So it's getting to that point when they start to slow down. My blurb is a leather-bound book has foretold 16-year-old Billy's life, but when his dad altered his destined course, the book rewrites a more sinister future. What can they do to get back on track?
I think that sounds good. We know who the character is. We know what the main conflict is, what the journey is about. It's Amazon doesn't let you put that number of words, so you could take that and just, you're gonna have to shorten it. You know, you might not be able to put all the details. But what I like the question that we have at the end, the rhetorical question, would be great for an
ad. So
and the sinister, the word sinister jumped out at me. That was good.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm trying with these. Leatherbound book that's full told Billy's life. Billy's life. But when his dad altered his course, his destined course, a more sinister view is in sight, or something like that. I'll have to work on that. I think I'll have to work on that.
I was going to say you might not have enough room, but you could put when his destiny alters, you know, a more sinister or a sinister. Like you might have to eliminate the dad and all the details from the ad because there's not enough room.
Yeah.
But you can still say that his destiny alters and that it's going to be sinister. You know, you just condense it. How many words do you get? Can't remember. Not very many.
I think it's 150. I think it said I've got 32 many, so I need to get rid of quite a bit, don't I?
Yeah.
But I can do that. That sort of shorten my 1 minute elevator pitch.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right then, so we'll pretend we've finished that.
Yeah, you're very close to being done. Now it's just setting up payment, like how much do you want to spend a day and all that.
So campaign bidding strategy, dynamic bids up and down. We'll raise your bids. I don't think so. I don't like that one. Fixed bids. Is that the one we're going for?
I do fixed bids now because Amazon says like we'll raise them in time when we think you'll make a purchase, but I'd rather decide that myself. I feel like that's too unknown, and no, I keep the fixed bids. I used to do all that. So anyone who says, "Oh, I do it and it works really well," I mean, I did try it and I spent a lot of money. Yeah. So I sold, spent. So yeah, fixed bids.
Dynamic bids down only. Amazon will lower your bids in real time when your ad may be less likely to convert to a sale.
Again, I mean, it's algorithm based probably, but less likely, but somebody still might. So I'd rather it fixed.
It's like you go in to buy something from a shop and the guy said, "Do you really need it today? Because this is going to be half price tomorrow." They're not going to do that, are they?
Yes. No. So yeah. No.
Adjust bids by placement. If in addition to your bidding strategy, you can increase bids up to 900%. Should I just ignore that?
I do this. I do this one. So I want my ads to show at the top or in the product pages. I can't remember. What's the third option?
Rest of search.
Yeah. I mean, rest of search, I could be on page 10. So I would rather be, the product pages gets me some sales. Top of the page gets me a lot more. It costs more.
Yeah.
So, but I also find it gets less clicks, which decreases the total cost. So I always do a percentage, maybe a 10% hike to be at the top of the search, something like that. Again, put it, and then after a couple days, you can play around with it and get rid of it if you don't like it. But often I'll do a little increase to be at the top. Just picture when you go to Amazon and there's an ad at the very top of the search bar, you see it immediately. So I would rather someone see my book right away.
Yeah. So we could sort of work with that. So we've got 10%.
Yeah.
We're going to go 10% to start with. But rest of search and product search, probably just leave those for now.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, think about 10% on a 10-cent click. That's only 11 cents, right? So
yeah. I can afford that.
Let's go with the risky 10%.
So then next we've got settings, we've got campaign name, and then the start and end date. You can have a start. You don't necessarily need to put an end date in, do you?
I often don't, because if I'm bidding really low, I don't worry about when it's going to end, and I can just pause the campaign whenever I want. So you can just click pause on your campaigns without deleting them.
And then you like this one, the daily budget. It's suggested budget of $12 a day. No.
I bet. Start with $1, $1, $2 for you pounds, right?
Yeah, I think that's probably more like it.
I mean, even £1, if you think about it, if you've got it at 10, that's 10 people could click. It gives you some information at least. And then if you wanted, you could increase it to 2 or whatever, but start low.
So I've just saved that draft now rather than launching, so I've got a few changes to make. When that's gone live, where do we go for finding out what's happened with it? Is that on your main page?
Yeah, so the page that will open up once it's approved, on the left-hand side will be all the statistics that we just talked about. So things like the targeting. So all the keywords will be listed there, and you can see how much you're spending per keyword. So that's also helpful information. It shows you which ones actually are getting clicked. And if you're not making sales and people are clicking them, then you need to adjust that. You need to either change the wording, delete them, or bid less on those keywords. So if people are constantly clicking them, you probably don't need to be spending as much on them because people are seeing them. So let's say you're spending 10 cents and 10 to 20 people are clicking them every day. Maybe lower it to 8 cents and see what happens. The reverse can be true. Sometimes no one clicks it, so you up it to 15 cents or 12, or and monitor it for another day.
Want to get into the view and that sort of stuff. And then I suppose if a lot of people are clicking but you're not getting the sales, then that's the problem with the blurb, isn't it? Then
it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be the blurb or the cover. You don't have to automatically think it's your book. It can literally just be the keyword. So it could be that they clicked that keyword and it didn't match. Your book didn't match precisely why they clicked the keyword. So sometimes it's tweaking those keywords, which is why having only 3 or 4 is a great idea. Then just change them up, change them to something different. You're right, though. Sometimes maybe it is the blurb. Maybe it's the reviews you've got. Maybe it's something else. But I feel like we shouldn't automatically go there to that place, because you just read me your blurb and it was great. So like, it was intriguing. And I think, more often than not, it's just we're in a pool of millions of books. So just because somebody clicks books with comedy doesn't mean they're going to buy it.
Yeah.
They probably need to see it 10 times before they're actually going to part with their money. And there's nothing wrong with that. You're competing.
That's the marketing rule of 7, isn't it? Until people have seen it 7 times, they don't
absolutely.
They don't click on. They don't get onto it. Jen, I think that's been brilliant. I will do a walkthrough, so I'll publish that on the channel.
Good. Can I do a quick plug before you go? Can I do a quick plug? If anyone is interested in having me walk them through and promote their book doing advertising on X, I do offer a Fiverr gig for that. So it's very economical. I won't announce what it is right here, but it's just something that I do for a very low price to help out indie authors on the platform who don't have a blue check. So, I only take maybe 2 or 3 a week, or 2 or 3 every 3 weeks or something. I keep it really low. I'm not doing it to make money. But then I do it to try to teach you how to make your own ads. So hopefully you won't need me anymore. And then you can do it yourself. So the links are all in my, my pinned tweets and bio on X.
Well, we'll put a link in the description of this show as well.
Sounds good.
And on the walkthrough I do, we'll also put links in for it as well then. So if you want specific guidance, Jen will be available for that if you ask her very nicely.
Yeah, reach out. Yeah.
reach out always. Yeah. That's brilliant, Jen. Thank you very much. Thanks very much for coming back on the show. The
Yeah.
Running or the podcast. I'm not sure. Are you aware that we've got the YouTube show, which is where we're seeing this. The podcast. The podcast is sort of getting like 3-4 times the viewers that we're getting on YouTube. But on my TikTok account, at Simon Ward Stories, once I started putting the clips on there, my followers went from 42 to over 1,000 in 4 weeks. And clips of the show that we did, which is one of my first shows, that's about 6,500 views now. So
wow, I had no idea that. That's great.
That's an amazing response, and getting people like yourself sort of in view and helping to promote you in all sorts of ways. So that's brilliant.
Thank you so much.
Nice one. Thank you very much. And we'll speak soon. Nice one. Thank you.
Bye now.
Cheers, Jen. Bye-bye.